Good afternoon on this last Sunday of July 2026. I hope your day is going on well. You're just in time for TV47 at 1 with I, Sheilar Chelangat, and of course we do begin right now. Now, a section of Jubilee party leaders led by Deputy Party Leader Jeremiah Kayoni have condemned remarks attributed to Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale, in which he allegedly referred to the Kikuyu community as hyenas, describing the statement as offensive and divisive. Speaking during a Jubilee consultative forum in Limuru, Kayoni said the remarks were uncalled for, urging CS Duale to apologize to both the Kikuyu community and the nation. Kayoni insists that senior government officials should exercise restraint and respect when addressing Kenyans, warning that inflammatory statements could undermine the long-standing peaceful coexistence between communities.
Duale must be. I saw him trying to explain it away. Yes, he should not explain it away. He should just be bold enough and say, I am sorry. Even those of us from our community who have also had some very unkind words to the other communities must also stand up and say they are sorry. Let us compete for votes. Tukichaguliwa tutakuwa Kenya hii. Ukiaguka utakuwa Kenya hii. The people you are seeking to lead ni hawa unatukana. So when you insult them and then you are elected, what happens? Duale is a minister. When he is serving us as a minister for health, atuone sisi kama ni watu wanataka matibabu sisi wote.
Now, when you use such words, such terms that demean us as a nation, because we did not choose you to speak in such terms. We did not choose you and the party to hold people with such content. We would like you to apologize, not just to us, but to the nation at large. You need to apologize for the words that you used. You need to apologize because you're supposed to be a leader. Lazima utuonyeshe mwelekezo.
Right, away from that, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, Upper Eastern Region, has raised concern over the rising wave of political hooliganism in the country, warning that the trend poses a serious threat to peace, national unity and democratic governance as Kenya moves closer to the 2027 general election. NCCK leaders condemned the growing use of youth to perpetrate violence for political interests, saying the practice must end immediately. They urged law enforcement agencies to hold accountable politicians who sponsor or incite such acts. The church leaders also called on politicians to embrace issue-based and peaceful politics, while urging young people to reject being used as instruments of violence.
We are urging the government to ensure that they serve the citizens by seeing into it that all projects are brought into completion, because it is our right, because it's a good thing that the citizens do deserve. We are also calling the government and the law enforcers to ensure that they deal firmly with this issue of gangs and goonism, which is becoming very rampant.
We urge political leaders to invest in meaningful employment and livelihood opportunities for young people instead of recruiting them into violence. We further call upon citizens to reject and hold accountable any leader who promote political violence or sponsors criminal gangs.
And still in the world of politics, Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni has urged young people to shun violent politics and reject politicians seeking to recruit them to perpetrate violence ahead of the 2027 general election. Instead, Muthoni is encouraging the youth to focus on entrepreneurship and take advantage of government empowerment programs aimed at creating jobs and growing businesses, while steering clear of drug and substance abuse that could derail their future.
Iko fedha inapeanwa kwa serikali ya youth, the Youth Enterprise Fund, the Women Enterprise Fund, na funds zingine mingi zenye ziko kwa serikali. Please, usikae chini ukaja ukasema that those funds belong to anybody. I am challenging you, the youth of Ukambani, that those projects and those programs and the monies belong to you, not anybody else. And I want to challenge you that after this Business Connect, get to your laptop, register a business name or a company, and try within this financial year whether you're going to benefit from the government programs that are there.
And still on matters surrounding elections, as Kenya moves closer to the 2027 general election, Coast leaders are warning that rising political intolerance and hate speech could threaten national cohesion and peace. Speaking during a tuk-tuk empowerment forum led by Nelson Alfayo in Nyali, the leaders accused the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, of failing to act decisively against hate speech. They called for the arrest of politicians accused of incitement and urged security agencies to crack down on alleged political-sponsored goons. The leaders said firm action is necessary to safeguard peace ahead of the 2027 polls.
I would like to see NCIC wanakuwa ahead of issues like that. Hatufai kwamba sisi ndo tunawaambia hizi vitu. Wao pia wako na TV, wao pia wako na runinga, wanaona kila kitu. We want to see them executing cases. We want to see a strong, independent and just NCIC. Isiwe mwananchi wa kawaida bodaboda, mtu wa tuktuk akisema kitu kibaya anapelekwa ndani. Viongozi wakisema vitu vibaya unaona wamenyamaza. Eti wameogopa. We want to see independent NCIC for the sake of peace going into election next year.
Napenda kutoa wito kwa vijana. Hapa pwani tunajua kwamba kuna hulka ya vijana kutumika sana wakati wa siasa katika kutumika kama gunism. Sisi tunasema ya kwamba siku ya leo tumeshuhudia Mheshimiwa Alfayo akitoa katika kutengeneza CBO, na kuna madereva wengi sana vijana ambao wanaweza kufanya kazi za udereva kama tuktuk waweze kusaidia kwa namna hiyo. Kwa hivyo tunahimiza ya kwamba huu sio muda ambao viongozi ama vijana wanakubali kutumika kwenda kufanya shughuli kwa niaba ya viongozi wa mambo ya kisiasa.
Right, away from that, women engineers in Kenya have been urged to move beyond their traditional technical roles and pursue leadership and political positions to help shape the country's future. Speaking at a gala dinner, National Assembly Minority Whip Millie Odhiambo challenged women engineers to stop seeking validation and boldly take up spaces historically dominated by men. She urged them to leverage their technical expertise in public leadership, saying Kenya needs more women professionals in decision-making positions, including parliament. Now, the call was made during the second Women Engineers Summit Gala dinner held in Nakuru County.
Men will always try and look for things to pull us down. Guess what? More recently, they came up with an innovative one. The most recent innovative one I found is ageism. Ageism, which is gendered. I have no problem with my current party leader, Honorable Buru Odinga, but guess what? To our party supporters who do not love me, I am old, Oburu is young. Ageism, which is gendered. We are going into politics. So come in, choose whatever seat you want to go for. And if you fear the one for men, we have now provided where women compete against fellow women. And after you compete against a fellow woman, like I was nominated, but you learn politics. Spend time. Observe what they are doing. Not all of us can be politicians, but women engineers need to be at the negotiating table.
Outgoing government spokesperson Dr. Isaac Mora has formally bid farewell to staff after serving for 33 months. Speaking at Harambee Annex, he described the transformation of the office into a modern communication institution as a collective achievement built on teamwork, professionalism and innovation. During his tenure, the office grew to 80 staff across 6 specialized departments, launched 33 communication projects, and held 274 national press briefings. Mwaura urged staff to uphold integrity, embrace innovation, and continue strengthening government communication.
Nimefurahi sana kuwa msemaji mkuu wa serikali kwa muda uliopo, kuwa sauti rasmi ya serikali na kuzungumza ukweli wa mambo. Kisa na maana ni je, wakati tunapoachana, tunaachana kwa sababu ya kukosana, ama kama vile ambavyo Ken alivyoandika katika kitabu chake cha Siku Njema, kidumucho ni nini? Kidumucho ni mabadiliko. Na ni muhali sana kuishi pasipo mabadiliko. Na wabariki, na wapenda, nasema asanteni, Mungu awe pamoja nanyi milele. Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Mungu ibariki Kenya, Mungu ibariki OGS. Asanteni sana.
Right, indeed. God bless Kenya. Now, away from that, residents living around the Aberdares forest in Murang'a County are calling on the national and county governments to improve infrastructure and establish a Kenya Wildlife Service entry gate into Aberdare National Park through Murang'a. They say despite the county's rich natural heritage, the lack of direct access has denied the region tourism revenue and economic opportunities. Our reporter Robert Gakure reports.
Kenya is expanding its tourism sector beyond traditional wildlife safaris by promoting ecotourism, cultural tourism, and adventure travel through improved infrastructure and targeted marketing. However, residents living around the Aberdares forest say Murang'a is yet to benefit from this growth due to poor road access and the absence of a Kenya Wildlife Service gate into Aberdare National Park.
Ndio county tu imesurround Aberdare, hauwezi ingia na gari huku. If kuna possibility ya kuweza kudrive through, inaweza saidia sana ukuzaji wa hotel industry, kwa sababu a lot of investments they are based on accessibility a national park.
Residents say Murang'a hosts a large section of the Aberdares ecosystem, known for its cool climate, spectacular waterfalls and diverse wildlife, including elephants, leopards and the rare bongo antelope.
Kuna mahali tunaita Gekai Viewpoint, wanakuja hapo, ukizimama hapo ndio unaona mahali, kila mahali msitu hii ya Aberdare Forest. Tena kutoka hapo tuko na Gatangu Waterfall. Hapo nao unaenda kuona mahali maji iko kwa wingi.
A hiking expedition from Kiamuturi showcased the forest's vast moorlands, scenic trails and rich biodiversity, highlighting its potential for hiking, birdwatching and conservation tourism.
It's one of the most scenic parts of this national park. Right behind me mnaona Elephant Hill, Kinangop. Unfortunately hakuna access pande ya Murang'a. So kama sasa hata nikiwa na wageni, lazima niwapeleke Elephant Hill pande ya Jambine.
Beyond its natural beauty, the forest is also steeped in history, having served as a key hideout for Mau Mau freedom fighters during Kenya's struggle for independence.
Pale hiyo Gekai Viewpoint unaiona, hapo sasa ndio wale msungu alikuwa na njenga kama njela. Wakati sasa Mau Mau anajificha huku ndani ya msitu hii ya Aberdare Forest, ukikamatwa hapo ndio unaletwa kama Mau Mau.
Tumepanda miche karibia 86,000.
Residents are now calling on national and the county government to develop infrastructure around Aberdares forest so as to open up access for tourists through Murang'a County. Robert Gakure, TV47, Murang'a.
Thank you, Robert. And now away from that, the government has been urged to consider implementing free education either immediately or in the near future, as many children continue to suffer due to inadequate funding for their education. Speaking during a bursary disbursement ceremony for students in universities, colleges and other tertiary institutions in Embakasi North constituency, Embakasi North MP James Gakuya called on the government to prioritize free education to ease the financial burden on families. Gakuya also condemned the rising cases of goonism in the country, saying the alleged tolerance of criminal gangs by the government paints a negative picture ahead of the 2027 general election.
William, angalia leo. Majangiri mchana yanawenda kuharibu uchaguzi wa Karau. Majangiri yanaonekana na magari wa bunge la taifa wanakamatwa na kamera. Majangiri ndio wanatawala na buduki mchana wanaua watu mchana. Leo ni kama tuko Haiti, ni kama tuko Kenya. Bila tulisema kuna free education, lazima tuweke secondary education free. Now what we need to do ni collapse all these bursaries na pesa zile zinatoka kwa serikali kuu under the Ministry of Education, zote ziwe corrupted, ziwekwe kwa one budget, ili tusije tukasema tunashughulikia mtoto tu yule anaitwa day school.
Kupata hii basari ya leo itanipunguzia budget kidogo, lakini ningeomba serikali yenye iko waweze, hata yenye inakuja waweze kutuongezea hii docket ikuwe kubwa zaidi, na kama inawezekana hata watuwekee free university.
The Defenders Coalition convened local human rights defenders and key duty bearers in Kitui County for a two-day summit aimed at addressing rising insecurity and cases of gender-based violence. Participants engaged in open dialogue to discuss challenges, share practical strategies, and identify solutions to strengthen regional collaboration. The training equipped attendees with critical skills to improve the prevention, reporting, and referral of human rights violations. At the close of the forum, stakeholders adopted a roadmap to strengthen local projection systems, enhance institutional accountability, and improve access to justice for survivors across the county.
Na pengine mahali wanaona tuende vizuri, watueleze mahali wanaona pengine kuna maswali ya kujibu. Tumekuwa tukiulizana ama tukishauriana ili kuboresha huduma.
Cha muhimu sana kwetu ni kuona kwamba watetezi wanafanya kazi kwa environment ambayo ni nzuri.
Duty bearers ambao ni wale wako maofisini, county government, national government na sekta ambazo tunaona kwamba kweli haki za watu wa Kitui zinafinyika kidogo. Kazi yetu hasa ni kuhakikisha kwamba sauti ya mnyonge pale chini imefika ambapo inapaswa.
Education stakeholders have called on the government to increase funding for technical colleges and expand help support to encourage more youth to enroll in skill-based training. Kirinyaga Seniors Technical Training Institute Director Dennis Murimi said technical education is shaping the future job market as employers increasingly seek skilled graduates. He added that the institute is also offering skill upgrading courses for employed workers to help them adapt to changing workplace demands.
Those who are taking technical courses, who are serious and competent today in the job market, some are going outside the country through the government and through self-employment. We are doing a good job, and the government, we could say, to support more youths in our technical courses.
We encourage my youths to don't look down on these vocational skills. It's because they will equip you to have those practical skills. With commitment, hard work, and consistency, you'll be able to face the future and still be employed, or you self-employ yourself.
Right, 15 minutes past 1. We take a short commercial break here on TV47 at 1. Do not go too far. More on the other side.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Chief. Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior. I only have big notes. Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo ni tonga commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Nipatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Hiyo tena. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni. Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Chief. Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior. I only have big notes. Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo ni tonga commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Nipatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Hiyo tena. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
All right, welcome back. This is TV47 at 1. Now, schools have been urged to embrace corporate social responsibility by supporting charitable initiatives that improve the lives of underprivileged members of their communities. Speaking after a charity walk organized by Kitengela International School's Athi River campus, Head of School Bridget Kandia said CSR helps students develop empathy, compassion and a sense of social responsibility beyond the classroom. She also encouraged parents to support their children's participation in community outreach programs to help nurture responsible and well-rounded citizens.
Every step we want to nurture the spirit and the virtue of giving, the spirit of care and empathy amongst our learners. Since CBC is a value-based curriculum, and it is so keen on developing those virtues amongst the learners, so we are so intentional to ensuring that learners have hands-on experience in developing the same, amongst many other activities that we do to show sympathy to other people or empathy to other people.
Ukiangalia kulikuwa na wale wadogo kabisa ambao pia walikuwa wamejitokeza kwamba wanatembea. So hii inakupatia motisha kabisa kwamba pia mimi lazima ni participate, ndio wao wakigrow wajue ina community tunafaa kuwa kama kitu kimoja.
We are doing this as an annual event. This is the second time we're doing it, and we pray that we can continue doing it on a yearly basis.
Now, for years, unreliable water supply has disrupted daily life for thousands of families in Utawala, Githunguri, forcing many households to cope with limited access to clean water several days each week. Now, the completion of the Utawala Last Mile Water Connectivity Project is expected to improve access to clean water for more than 40,000 residents starting in August. During a stakeholders meeting, residents called for the speedy completion of the project, citing years of persistent water shortages. Water officials acknowledged that a rapid population growth has increased demand and emphasized the need for stronger collaboration between the national and county governments to enhance water supply. Mavoko Water and Sewerage Company Managing Director Raphael Mutie said previous delays were caused by limited resources. Once completed, the project is expected to serve 191 estate courts.
Today's meeting has given us a clear guideline on how we are going to fast track this process, and I want to make a commitment as a lead agency, as a lead person in that process, that within the set timelines that we are going to deliver this project and ensure that all those are supposed to get water are connected.
If this is going to be achieved, this water connectivity for fresh water, I'm telling you, it's a major milestone, not only to our national indicators for access to clean water, even global goals for sustainable goals for clean water to households.
Tumekuwa na wananchi wa Githunguri, tumeongea tukajua the costing of the last mile connectivity, na tume agreed that within the 191 courts tutakaa chini na wao on Wednesday ndio tuweze kuona how much we require for every court, so that we resolve that, so that in the next 2 months all the courts should be having water in the next 2 months.
We are hopeful that through the grants and through the bodies that are involved, we are going to get a lasting solution. Now all will be well.
Now, away from that, government, scientists and conservation organizations will gather in Nairobi in September for the Global Flyways Summit to discuss the future of migratory birds and strengthen international cooperation to protect their habitats. The meeting will bring together policymakers, researchers and international institutions to deliberate on habitat loss, climate change and other threats to migratory bird populations. Now, the summit is expected to culminate in the adoption of the Nairobi Flyways Declaration, a framework to guide conservation and financial commitments for migratory birds. Kenya is hosting due to its strategic location along the African-Eurasian Flyway, one of the world's most important migratory routes. BirdLife International will also launch the latest State of the World's Bird Report on September 11th, 2026 during the summit. Now, engineers have welcomed the court's decision to uphold the National Infrastructure Fund, saying it will boost sustainable development and economic growth. Institution of Engineers of Kenya presidential hopeful Harrison Keter is calling for engineers to be included in the fund's governance to enhance accountability and project delivery. Now, the professionals are also urging engineers to embrace artificial intelligence and digital skills through training at the Open University of Kenya and Konza Technopolis. They further want local content requirements increased from 40% to 60% to create jobs and strengthen local industries.
Okay. Since the aspiring president, and we clap.
We will not sit back to wait for implementation. We have done that for the last 70 years or so when engineering started, and what we have seen is disaster. Because the conceptualization of national infrastructure, which are engineering in nature, requires people who know. Why? Because the design, the planning require financial provision, and to be able to do that, they require policies, and policies are determined by impact of what you are doing.
I think there are, professional issues that must be tackled. There are ethical issues that must be tackled, and all this will have to be really laid out to bear so that when one is going into this, they already understand what it entails and the benefits that can accrue from applying this artificial intelligence.
Now, away from that, Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino has emerged as the early front runner in Nairobi's 2027 gubernatorial race, according to a Center for African Progress opinion survey. Owino leads with 36%, followed by businesswoman Agnes Kagure at 32%, while Governor Johnson Sakaja trails with 11%. Now, the survey conducted between July 11th and 16th sampled 4,500 respondents across Nairobi's 17 constituencies. Only 4% of voters remain undecided.
So 51% of the people we talk to say the major concern is the economy, and they feel like it's not moving forward. That is followed by corruption at 25%, leadership 20%, security 4%. So the major concern of Nairobians at 51% is the economy, followed by corruption at 25%, and then leadership issues at 20%. Security.
And in the world of sports, Kenya national women football team Harambee Stars will face host Morocco tonight in the opening Group A fixture of the Women African Football Cup of Nations. Starlets are hopeful of bagging all the maximum points to build momentum for the next 2 matches, which they will face Algeria and Senegal. Tonight's match will kick off at 10 p.m. East African time. Now, Kenya's Javan Buyu and Uganda's Catherine Nanziri stole the show at a thrilling SportPesa boxing night in Nairobi, producing emphatic stoppage victories to claim major titles and underline East Africa's growing boxing pedigree. Now, Buyu captured the vacant UBO Intercontinental Lightweight crown with a second-round knockout of Tanzania's Ramadan Eid, while Naziri needed just over a minute to overpower fellow Tanzanian Husna Zamba and secure the PST Super Bantamweight title in a night packed with explosive knockouts and high-quality boxing action at the Edge Convention Center in South Sea.
In the camp, we plan that I'll take my opponent through pressure for the first 5 rounds, and if he succumbs the pressure, now we'll start taking him through School of Boxing, but he couldn't succumb the pressure. About the judging, I couldn't let the decision go to the table of judging because it's an international title that it could be, because it has been in Kenya or something, it could bring a bit of politics. So I had to do it.
At 1:30, we conclude TV47 at 1 with our Sheilar Chelangat. Of course, more updates in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. For now, do enjoy the rest of your viewership. Good afternoon.